we are going to focus on information needed for the upcoming 2026 annual enrollment. This will start October 20th and ends November 7th, 2025. Any elections made during the annual enrollment period will be effective January 1st, 2026, unless otherwise stated as we move through the content. Some of the benefits described in this presentation may not be available to all members, depending on your employer. Please reach out to your employer if you have questions on which NDPERS benefits may be available to you. There are 5 plans available for review during annual enrollment: health, dental, vision, life insurance, and FlexComp. NDPERS encourages members to review all available benefits during the annual enrollment period to ensure that you are enrolled in the correct plans with the correct level of coverage, and all family members are listed for the coverage. Please note that some benefit elections must be made yearly, so it's important to review these every annual enrollment, as your current election may not carry over to the new calendar year. The health insurance available through NDPERS is administered by Stanford Health Plan. There are 2 types of plans available: the Dakota Plan and the High Deductible Health Plan, or HDHP. The HDHP is only available for permanent state, university system, and district health unit employees. Participating political subdivisions will only have the HDHP available if your employer selects this plan for the entire group. Within both the Dakota Plan and the HDHP, there is a network list of providers. The Preferred, or PPO network, is a list of providers that are contracted with Stanford Health Plan. Members who receive services from providers that are part of the PPO network would have more coverage, resulting in less out-of-pocket for services received. The Basic network is any provider who's not part of the PPO network. Any services received from a basic provider may result in higher out-of-pocket costs to the member. The High Deductible Health Plan does come with a health savings account, or HSA, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. During annual enrollment, you may change which plan, the Dakota Plan or the High Deductible Plan, you are participating in. If you are wanting to change from one plan to the other through the member self-service portal, the election to change from one plan to the other is made by indicating you're making a change to your health insurance when prompted for that question and not submitting a cancellation. A request to cancel your health insurance coverage will cancel your entire policy. You would then need to complete a second application to enroll in the plan that you want to take on for the new year. The High Deductible Health Plan has a higher deductible and coinsurance maximum in comparison to the Dakota Plan. However, as mentioned earlier, the HDHP does include a health savings account, which would contain funds that can be used to help cover these higher out-of-pocket costs. Any contributions made to the HSA do not have a use it or lose it policy, meaning the balance can carry over from one year to the next. The HDHP has different coverage requirements in comparison to the Dakota Plan. Because the HDHP is considered non-grandfathered, it must follow the mandates from the Affordable Care Act, or ACA, which requires coverage for certain services that may be limited or no coverage through the Dakota Plan. For example, some services that are covered under the High Deductible Plan that aren't or are limited with the Dakota Plan are colonoscopies and breast pumps. More detailed information on coverage and exclusions for each plan can be found on the NDPERS website under Active Members Health Insurance. There is also a comparison chart available on the High Deductible Health Plan section of the PERS website that will outline the differences between the 2 plans. For members who participate in the High Deductible Health Plan with the HSA, the employer pays a contribution each month on behalf of the participating employee. If you are on a single health plan, your employer contributes $119.62 per month to the HSA. If you're on a family health plan, the monthly employer contribution is $289.36. This employer contribution will not be included in the HSA's available balance until towards the end of the following month that the contribution was made. You may also contribute additional funds to this account up to the annual limit set by the IRS. These contributions can be made by pre-tax payroll deduction if this is allowed by your employer. Contributions can also be made on an after-tax basis by sending payments directly to Health Equity, who administers our health savings account, and this can be done either by check or automatic bank withdrawal. We mentioned IRS limits. So for 2026, if you are on a single health plan, the HSA annual limit is $4,400. If you're on a family plan, this limit is $8,750. For any participants age 55 and older, you may also contribute an additional $1,000 over the regular IRS limit. Please keep in mind that employer contributions should be included in these annual limit amounts when determining what you want to contribute. There are some limitations on eligibility for the HSA, such as Medicare eligibility, or if you have another health plan, depending on the type of the other plan. Please refer to the PERS website or contact Health Equity for details prior to electing enrollment in the high deductible health plan. Ineligibility for the HSA does not prohibit you from being enrolled in the HDHP. Please note that the ND PERS or employer contribution amounts are subject to change July 1 of every odd year based upon health premiums for the new contract period. Next, let's jump into the vision plan. The PERS vision plan is provided by Superior Vision. The premiums are remaining the same for 2026, ranging from $5.03 per month for a single policy up to $14.19 per month for a family. These premiums are eligible to be a pre-tax deduction from your paycheck if you participate in the PERS Flex Comp program. Just as with the health insurance, Superior Vision also has a network list of providers. And you can review this list by accessing their website and searching. Their website is www.superiorvision.com. If you receive services from a network provider, this will be less out-of-pocket costs for you for any services received. As shown on the slide, eye exams, standard contact lens fitting, and standard single vision, bifocal, and trifocal lenses are all covered in full with an in-network provider. Frames, specialty contact lens fitting, and contact lenses are covered up to $100. If you need progressive lenses, these are covered at the line trifocal amount plus 20% off the difference. Out-of-network services have limited or no coverage and may require you to pay the provider in full and then submit a claim to Superior Vision for reimbursement. For example, eye exams are limited to $45 reimbursement, frames are covered up to $47, and the contact lens fittings are not covered at all. Also, if you wear contacts and decide to get a new pair of glasses as well, Superior Vision will only pay towards the lenses for glasses or contact lenses each calendar year. This applies regardless of the network status of your provider. More detailed coverage information on the vision plan is available on the ND PERS website or by clicking on the Learn More link once you've logged into Member Self-Service. The dental insurance available through ND PERS is through Delta Dental of Minnesota. These premiums are also not changing for 2026, so they range from $42.24 per month for a single plan up to $134.74 per month for family. This premium is also eligible for pre-tax deduction from your paychecks, provided your employer participates in the PERS Flex Comp program. Please note that the dental insurance available through ND PERS is not Total Dental Administrators, or TDA, and enrollment in TDA cannot be completed through member self-service. please contact your employer for eligibility and enrollment in the TDA dental program. Enrollment in TDA does not automatically cancel your enrollment in Delta Dental or vice versa. If your intention is to end one policy and enroll in the other, you must take action with both plans or may result in double coverage for dental-related services. Delta Dental will pay on covered services for each covered individual until the calendar year maximum of $1,000 is reached. In addition, there is a lifetime orthodontic maximum of $1,500 per covered individual. Some services will not be covered until you have met the deductible, which is $50 per person per year. The deductible, however, does not apply towards any diagnostic and preventive services or orthodontics. Under the dental plan, the coverage for services is the same percentage across in-network and out-of-network providers. However, non-participating providers are not limited on the amount they may charge for services, but Delta Dental will cap the dollar amount they'll pay for such service. If the non-participating provider charges more than what the insurance will cover, members will be responsible for the difference. For example, if a non-participating dentist charges $120 for a teeth cleaning, but Delta Dental covers 100% up to $100, then the patient is responsible for the difference of $20. Diagnostic and preventive services are covered at 100% under the dental plan. Any basic services, endodontics, periodontics, oral surgeries, and prosthetic repairs and adjustments will be covered at 80%. Services such as crowns, dentures, bridges, and orthodontics are covered at 50%. There are no waiting periods for a majority of the services covered by the dental plan, but some services are limited in frequency. Please refer to the dental plan's summary plan description for additional details on these limits. It is NDPER's policy that if you elect to enroll in the dental or vision insurances, you are required to remain in the plan for the full calendar year. An exception to this rule would be if you would terminate employment before the end of the year. At that time, NDPERS would offer COBRA continuation. If you previously waived participation in the NDPERS dental or vision insurance plans, you would not need to submit a new waiver for 2026. Your existing waiver election will carry over to the new year. The life insurance available through NDPERS is provided by Voya Financial. There are 3 layers to the life insurance. First is the employee life insurance, followed by supplemental dependent life insurance, and lastly, supplemental spouse life insurance. Premiums for the life insurance are based on the age and level of coverage chosen. Detailed premium information can be found on the NDPERS website under Life Insurance or the Learn More link under Member Self-Service. Employee life insurance is broken down into several layers. Permanent benefit eligible employees are automatically enrolled in basic $12,000 of life insurance, which is paid by your employer. In addition, employees can elect up to $300,000 guarantee issue. The maximum employee life insurance available is $600,000. Temporary employees are able to enroll in the same levels of life insurance as permanent, except the premiums for any coverage selected are the responsibility of the employee. The employer will not pay for that basic $12,000 premium. There are certain annual enrollment elections that require completion of the Evidence of Insurability, or EOI form, and approval from the carrier. Let's go through those options. If an employee currently has only the basic $12,000 and is requesting to add any level of supplemental employee life insurance during annual enrollment, the employee must complete one application and the Evidence of Insurability form. If an employee is increasing an existing supplemental life insurance amount by by $25,000 and the total coverage with the increase will not exceed that guarantee issue of $300,000, the employee will only need to complete one application. The evidence of insurability will not be required with this type of increase. The requested increase will be enrolled effective January 1. If an employee is increasing existing supplemental life insurance by more than $25,000, the employee should complete two applications. The first application would request the $25,000 increase mentioned previously that doesn't require underwriting as long as the total amount doesn't exceed $300,000. The second application would be for the full amount desired and would require the EOI form to be completed. PERS will process the first application for January 1 with the $25,000 increase, and the second application will be processed if it's approved by the carrier. If an employee is increasing existing supplemental life insurance for any amount above $300,000, you would only need to complete one application, but the EOI would be required. Any requests that require completion of the EOI will not be updated until NDPERS receives notice from the carrier that the request has been approved. Employees applying for additional coverage that require approval will receive a letter from the carrier with the determination. If approved, the effective date will be January 1 or the date of approval, whichever is later. In addition to supplemental employee life insurance, an employee may elect supplemental dependent and supplemental spouse life insurances. Supplemental dependent life insurance is payable should the spouse or any eligible dependent pass away. Dependent children are insured through the age of 26. The amounts available are $2,000, $5,000, $7,000, or $10,000. Supplemental dependent life insurance can only be elected if the employee has some level of supplemental employee life insurance and not just the basic $12,000. Supplemental spouse life insurance can only be elected if the employee has supplemental dependent life insurance, but this one is only payable in the event of a spouse's passing. The maximum supplemental spouse coverage available is 50% of the total employee coverage, but this does not factor in the dependent supplemental life insurance when determining that 50% maximum. So I could have $200,000 as an employee, at $10,000 dependent life insurance, and still do $100,000 spouse coverage. If an employee is electing the supplemental dependent life insurance of any amount, it does not require completion of the EOI form. We will process the request effective January 1. However, because an employee must have supplemental employee life insurance before adding dependent life insurance, that dependent life insurance will not be added if the supplemental employee life insurance enrollment is pending approval from VOIA. Both elections will be entered based upon the effective date of the approval with the supplemental employee coverage. If an employee is newly electing or increasing spouse supplemental life insurance, one application and EOI form would need to be completed, and this is subject to approval by VOIA. Any requests that require carrier approval will not be updated until PERS receives such approval notice. Employees applying for additional coverage that requires approval will receive a letter from the carrier with the determination or if more information is needed. If this is approved, the effective date will be January 1 or the date of approval, whichever is later. So let's do a recap of when the EOI form is needed. First is when newly adding supplemental employee life insurance for the very first time, meaning you only have the basic $12,000 in coverage currently. Next would be when you're increasing your existing supplemental life insurance by more than $25,000, as long as the total coverage doesn't exceed $300,000 after the increase. When the total supplemental employee life insurance amount is higher than $300,000, when newly adding supplemental spouse life insurance for the first time, or when you're increasing your existing supplemental spouse life insurance to any higher amount. Now that we know when the EOI is needed, let's review how to complete it. You may find the form on our website under Popular Forms during annual enrollment, or you may access it from the Active Members Life Insurance section of our website. It is also linked through Member Self-Service if you're doing your application that way. You may print the form and fill it out by hand or fill it in online, then print. You'll complete sections A, C if that applies to you, D, and E. NDPERS will complete section B, so you may leave that blank. NDPERS does not accept electronic signatures, so the form must be printed and physically signed prior to sending to NDPERS. In addition to the EOI, it may be beneficial to complete the authorization for release of information so as not to cause delays in VOIA reviewing your request. Once these are completed, please return them to PERS. We will then complete Part B and send it on to VOIA. Keep in mind, only one EOI is needed when requesting an increase for either employee or spouse life insurance or both. If you are requesting underwriting, if your request requires underwriting, you may be contacted by VOIA. An authorized representative may contact you by phone to schedule an appointment should additional screening be needed. You may also receive a letter in the mail requesting additional information or documentation. Inaction with either of these requests may result in the life insurance increase request being denied. And this slide just shows what those pages look like or what those documents look like. The FlexComp program through NDPERS is available for permanent employees of the state and participating district health units, but this does not include employees of the North Dakota University system. There are three parts to the FlexComp program. One is pre-taxing eligible insurance premiums, enrolling in a medical flex spending account, or taking a dependent care flex spending account. Eligible premiums for the pre-tax benefit is the PERS offered dental and vision insurances, the first $50,000 of employee supplemental life insurance, and other optional insurance products available to state employees. The pre-tax of the life insurance premium is set up automatically. The optional benefits eligible for pre-tax premium would include certain products with Aflac, Colonial Life, TDA, among others. More detailed information on all eligible insurance premiums for the pre-tax is available under the NDPERS website under FlexComp or the Learn More link on Member Self-Service. The flexible spending accounts have limits determined by the IRS. For 2026, the medical flex spending pledge limit is $3,300. Keep in mind you cannot participate in the medical flex if you also have the high deductible plan with the HSA. The annual pledge limit for 2026 for dependent care is increasing to $7,500 if you are married and filing a joint tax return or if you are single. If you are married but file separate tax returns, the annual limit is $3,750. Claims for both medical and dependent care flex spending accounts are processed through a third party, ASI Flex. If you have any questions on annual enrollment and 2026 benefits, please refer to the annual enrollment information that will be available on the NDPERS website starting October 20th. Any annual enrollment forms should not be completed or submitted prior to the start date of October 20th. Detailed plan coverage information on the respective insurances is available under Active Members Insurance Plan section of the NDPERS website. You may also reach out to your human resource or payroll representative for assistance. Note that any benefits when logging into Member Self-Service, if they indicate under NDPERS review, this means that we've received your application but have not processed your request yet. Please allow a few business days for processing. If you are a new employee hired during annual enrollment, you are eligible to enroll in benefits within 31 days of your hire date. If the 31-day window overlaps with annual enrollment, please be sure to make your new higher enrollment elections first before completing annual enrollment elections. It is strongly encouraged that you also review your first paycheck in January to ensure that the elections you made are accurately reflected. If you notice that something is missing or incorrect, please contact ND PERS office for next steps.